Saw a movie the other night with a bunch of friends, and it's not often that when the movie is over, everybody in the room says, hey, that was a great picture, we really enjoyed it, or it's a knockout of a picture. I have met no one yet, really, who has seen the picture who did not like it. It was a picture that started out as, in our business, I guess you might call it what they call a sleeper. I'd first heard about it some months ago, about the story about the young man who had written this screenplay, would not let somebody else play the part, even though he had gone to the studio, started in himself, and it came out, and all of a sudden, it is one of the biggest hits in the country. It was written by Sylvester Stallone, who also stars in it, and it's already received the Scholastic magazine, Coronet magazine, have named it Best Film of the Year. It's quite a story in itself. If they'd made a movie about how this movie came about, you wouldn't believe it. Would you welcome, please, the star of Rocky, Sylvester "Sly" Stallone. Well, first of all, let me say congratulations. It's a hell of a picture.
Well, thank you very much.
You ought to be very proud of that.
I am.
You ought to be. As I said, it's not often you see everybody sit in a room, you know, or in a theater and get up and say, well, what'd you think? Usually people start picking a picture apart and say, well, it was a little here, a little that. Everybody says, geez, that's entertaining.
Yeah.
Did I tell the story in a way, because if somebody wrote a story about the way this picture came about, people would not believe it, right?
That's true. It was quite a long shot. If I had known it was going to be this difficult, I wouldn't have done it, you know.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it was a classic case of blissful stupidity. No, really, seriously, because I didn't know you couldn't do something like this. Therefore, I didn't try. So, to me, it seemed very normal, honking your horn in the driveway with the producer and tapping on his window at all hours of the night and saying, please, please, please. And eventually, I think they just gave me the money to go away. No, seriously, go away.
Don't bug us
It's worth
anymore.
$1 million to get rid of this.
You were in another picture. Weren't you in The Lords of Flatbush?
Lords of Flatbush,
Henry
right.
Winkler was also in that
Right.
picture.
A lot of people. Susie Blakely.
There were a lot of good
Right.
people in that picture, and that was a little classic of its own. Is that the only motion picture that you've...
Well, there's a couple of them buried back there, like Linda and the Meat Cleaver and a few things.
Everybody's got a few of those that we don't,
right,
that they don't want to bring up.
Right.
How did this come about? Did you have the story rambling around in your head for some time?
Well, I knew that I was just turning 30 years old, and I was feeling, geez, I've been acting for 10 years and nothing was going to happen. So what if I just take my particular play, my inability to be recognized as an actor, and put them in boxing shorts and make it a down-and-out, downtrodden, real underdog? Because when you're a down-and-out underdog fighter, that's about as low down as you can get. So what I did is I took my particular play, put them in boxing shorts, and then I took it to the studio. They said, well, we like it. It's different. It seems somewhat innovative because there's no violence. It's a love story. Wow. Many people consider it a fight film, which is not true. There's only like 9 minutes of fighting. It is basically a story about a man's want to
rags
be
to riches and wanting to be somebody.
That's all, right, which I think that everybody really has this consuming desire to just have one shot, like the armchair quarterbacks. I'm sure they would just love once to go out, just one pass, so they get their head broken.
Why do you think all those men watch football? Don't you envision? I do. Every time I see the quarterback, I see Joe Namath, and I said, I could do that. Or just once I would like to do that and complete that long bomb, and they can carry me out, and my life would be complete.
Exactly, right?
But you didn't have any idea, obviously.
No.
Because I know one of the producers, Erwin Winkler,
right,
who's a friend of my attorney, Henry Bushkin, who stood behind you and went to bat. Now, when you got this together, you went to the studios, and they said, didn't they want somebody else? They'd say, well, we'll take the property, but we want, as they usually say, a bankable name, I think is the term, or recognized.
Marketable.
Marketable name.
Like lentils.
Did they throw names like Paul Newman?
No, it was, they threw around names that would have been very good, like Jimmy Caan, and they threw Ryan O'Neal, and they threw around Burt Reynolds and whatnot, but I felt that they had a few dollars put away, and since I was condemned to Encino. I'm doing time. 11 months in Encino. No kidding, really.
You might as well take the whole shot at it.
Really,
huh?
and it was getting desperado time. So they offered, first it was $100,000 for the script and $150 to take a walk. And I said, no, this is real.
How high did they go?
They went up to about $265,000.
Now, when they said we'll give you $265,000 for that script, Stallone, what did you say?
Well, I said,
now that's a lot of bread.
Well, after I stood up, you know, it was one of those things. No, I felt as though the money meant nothing. When you haven't dealt in money that much, it really had no bearing. In other words, since I had about $106 in the bank, $265 sounded so remote to me. And I would lie to myself like this all the time.
It's a good point. You didn't know, though. It's like going to the racetrack. The guy who won $100,000. he lost it at the end of the day, and somebody says, "What'd you lose?" And he said, $6.
No, right.
It
If
doesn't
you don't
make
have it, it doesn't have an impact. So it really didn't bother me. Plus, the 106 was gaining interest.
Yeah.
Right. It was
Okay, when we come back,
3,000 years, I'd have enough for a pack of cigarettes.
yeah, another 300 years, you'd have almost, you'd double your money. We'll be right back. Stay where you are. We have a film clip also from Rocky. We're talking with Sylvester. Is Sly a nickname that you've had for a long time?
Yeah. Sly is the natural nickname for Sylvester. You just juxtaposition the L and Y, and I think it's like a little pretentious for me to ask everyone
Sylvester.
to say Sylvester.
Do you like Sly better? Does that make you more comfortable?
Well, it's quicker.
Yeah.
It's quicker.
Where's home for you originally?
I was born in Hell's Kitchen, New York, and at the age of 5, I moved down. Oh, really? The entire population is here. I moved down to Maryland.
Yeah.
Called Montgomery Hills, and nickname affectionately Monkey Hollow, and I lived down there for a while. Right.
The reason I ask is because a lot of the people who reviewed your picture said that the street dialogue, the dialogue is good and so natural and honest, and not having grown up in the city, but it has that quality. It doesn't seem affected, and it's the way people talk.
Well, that's nice.
It's a lovely scene you have in there with a young girl when you.
Was it?
Yeah, where you try to tout her off from hanging around with the older guys because she's trying to be hip, and she's about 14 or 15,
right.
and you're walking her home and you give her a little bit of advice, and it's nice. And I'm so glad she didn't appear later in the picture. It would have been like, now we're going to show you that she turned out all right. But that was a good touch.
We couldn't afford her.
Couldn't afford her. Can I ask you, what was the budget for this picture? Without being seen too mercenary, what did this picture cost? Around $1 million?
$960,000, and
well, that sounds like a lot of money, which it is. But for a motion picture, nowadays it's nothing. Major motion pictures. King Kong, to give you an idea, cost $25 million. To make that picture.
Right.
So that'll put it in perspective.
No, it was really excellent. The producers and the director and everyone, I mean, the director worked incredibly tight. John Avildsen, he worked so tight on it, and producers watched every nickel. And I don't think you really need that tremendous amount of money if you can write simple stories about ideals, about philosophies that deal in optimism, that I really believe that, like this man, Rocky, if you're given one opportunity, just one chance to go the distance, even if you fail, it's all right. You just want the opportunity to fail on. And I believe that, I feel so bad, like for the majority of actors out there, there's something like 60-some thousand actors and maybe 300 acting roles.
Right.
So all of them with just like one attempt.
And you got it.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah, you're one of the...
But I think that this might open up channels for new talent.
Yeah, this has obviously changed your life a lot.
Yes, it has. Now I have $107. That's true.
No, because all of a sudden you find that you've got people around you that are kissing your hindquarters and giving you advice and telling you what you should do and want to handle you, and you find a lot of that, and it's a little awkward, isn't it? Because you're not used to that, and here all of a sudden they're coming from all directions. I would guess.
No, it is. Usually you find one under the placemat. Hey, I got a deal for you. I like you. Do the Leo Gorcey story. Come on.
Hey, that's not bad.
It isn't bad. No, I think it's true.
Well, I'm glad for your success, and stay cool and do it again.
Well, thank you.
We have a small film clip. I think this scene is with Burgess Meredith, in which he has more or less ignored you when you've wanted his help before. You've been hanging around this sleazy gym, and he said, "Get out of here, you're ham and egger, and you're no good, and you don't want to work, and you'll never be a fighter." Then when you get a chance to fight the heavyweight champion of the world, who's the fellow who plays him? Carl
Weathers.
He's very good at it.
Oh, isn't he? That was a very difficult role. He got the role by coming into the office and hitting me twice in the forehead. And I said, anybody has that kind of audacity definitely deserves to be champ.
He plays Apollo Creed, heavyweight champion.
Heavyweight champion. But this scene, I'd just like to set up a little bit. During the whole movie, Rocky's very, very quiet. He takes everyone's guff. He never opens his mouth. He's just too nice. And finally, he's pushed to the limit, and here he has to come out and editorialize on his situation, what it's like to be a loser, never to have a prime.
Right. Watch the monitors here in the studio. Here's a small film clip from Rocky. Do you have a box?
Oranges.
I know you can't say. I just wondered. You obviously had to train for this because did you ever box at all? You ever fight?
No.
Looked pretty good in there.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, what it was is mimicry. I don't think the audience today you can fool them anymore with.
So you almost choreographed the whole.
Right. I'd like to have dubbed my head on someone's body, but it wouldn't work. Right. No, but we spent about 6 months doing that, and Carl Weathers and I, we would go out to this gym, which is like in the middle of. Behind a cactus somewhere in Chatsworth. And what it is we box so much that it comes down to about 35 to 40 hours of rehearsal for each 1 minute of fighting on the film. And We broke our ribs, broke chest, elbows.
It's a sensational closing fight scene in there. People actually practically jump out of their chairs, you know, like they're watching a real fight there. Look, I know you can't stay. I really wish you well. It's a super picture. It's most entertaining, and I congratulate you.
Well, thank you very much.
So stay cool and
Been a
come back and
privilege
see us,
seeing
will
you.
you?
Thank you.
Thanks, Sly.
All right, thank you very much.